Well, thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate you taking some time to watch this live webinar. My name is Christy Strauss, and I am the Broker Sales Director at Insurance Advisors Direct. And today we have Kyle Ingraham, who's the lead sector consultant at HAP, who will be presenting. And we'll be going over a few things today, mostly just more of a reminder, a refresher for all of us, why HAP is such a great product, just to keep us in front of it. Maybe some reminders about OEP, kind of keeping us compliant as well. And if there's any questions afterwards, we'll open it up for that. I will remind you all that you're muted. There is a hand raising or a chat feature. If you do have questions, you can type them in and we will address all of those at the close of the webinar. Shouldn't take too much time because this is more of a refresher. But again, we really appreciate your time, and this will be recorded. It will be housed in our YouTube video library. If you haven't subscribed to it yet, I would highly recommend doing that because you will get updates when we load on new webinars. So with that being said, Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Christy, thank you to you and the rest of the IAD team for putting this together. Always love an opportunity to talk with your agents and obviously talk about HAP and how we can help them out in 2022. So Christy touched on what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to talk about why HAP, just a few reasons as to outside of our great plans, why you should be doing business with HAP. 2022 OEP and some of those compliance things, what you can and can't do. And then I'm not going to go through all of our Medicare Advantage plans and each line item like we do in a lot of trainings before AEP. It's just going to be really those quick selling features for each one that you should be keeping in mind when talking to your members. Also our supplemental benefits and just to touch quickly on Medigap as well. So to start off, why HAP? First off, we're a nonprofit organization. What does that mean? It means that we're not beholden to stakeholders or hitting certain dividends for our shareholders every quarter. Everything that the plan brings in terms of revenue is reinvested directly back into the plan and into our members' benefit. We don't have to make decisions based on hoping to have a certain profit every year. We make decisions based on being able to provide the best plans possible for our members. Also, we're fully integrated with the Henry Ford Health System. Now, one thing that people always think about when we say that is that means Henry Ford is our network. It doesn't mean that Henry Ford is our only hospital network or provider network. What it means is that we have access to their frontline providers, and we're able to understand exactly what's going on a day-to-day basis, year-to-year basis with membership. What are their needs? What are they seeing future trends so that we can be ahead of it as opposed to being reactive in the future. Also, we're local. 98, 99% of our members of our employment staff is right here in Michigan. So what does that mean? Number one, when you call into agent services, when your members call into member services, they're calling somebody right here in Michigan. It also means that anything that we make, we all do this obviously to help members, but also to support our family and our lives as well. It means that all of that is being reinvested directly back into the local economy, as opposed to going down to another state and investing somewhere else's economy. It's all being done right here. And then last is to talk about dependability. The way that we and a lot of other carriers market how dependable they are or how referable they are is through something called a Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Scores basically tell a carrier, some company in any industry, how likely their members, clients, customers are to refer them to friends and family. To give you a few benchmark ideas, top of the line customer service scores is with Amazon typically. They're going to be in the mid to high 70s for an NPS score. Insurance is an industry as a whole. So we're talking P&C, life insurance, health insurance, all of that. Score is about a 28. So no big surprise, people don't love insurance companies. If we break that down a little bit more granular, Medicare in Michigan, so all the Medicare business in Michigan, the benchmark score is about a 36. That's where you see most carriers coming in. in terms of their NPS score. So better than the full insurance industry as a whole. For HAP in Michigan for Medicare, we score a 62. So that's almost double all of our competitors. And the reason is because we care about our members. We put a lot of investment into our customer service care model and our networks and our plan designs to make sure that our members are able to utilize their benefits, access the care that they need, have the breadth of network that they need. And then because of that, they are more likely to refer us to friends and family. So that's great for us on a retention stake in terms of we have a very low turnover rate of members. But for you, it also means that you are more likely to receive referrals from your members because you put them into a plan that they were happy with and was the right fit for them right off the bat. And that's going to turn into more referrals for you. So touching quickly on OEP for 2022, again, it runs beginning of January to the end of March. It allows for one change in that time frame. Basically, you can go from an MA to an MA, MAPD to an MA. I'm not going to read through all these. They have to have a Medicare Advantage plan and go to another Medicare Advantage plan, or they can leave a Medicare Advantage and go back to original Medicare. That is the best way to look at it rather than reading all of those back and forth. Effective date is always going to be the first of the month following your application. So you cannot put in an application on January 31st and ask for a 3/1 or 4/1 effective date. It's all going to be for the following month of when you applied. What can you do? You can keep marketing. Very important not to stop marketing just because AEP is over. You should still be looking to market to dual eligible individuals, those that have LIS, or those that will be turning 65. Work your center of influences, those people who can be able to get referrals or opportunities for you. Health and senior fairs, social media, and postcard mailings are all great ways to continue to market yourself, as well as being responsive. You can send marketing materials to beneficiaries who ask for them. So remember, you can't say, I just can't send you any of that. It's not AEP right now. If a member asks for it, you absolutely can send them marketing materials. And then, of course, set up one-on-one meetings at the beneficiary's request. What can't you do? You cannot, as a member, they cannot switch from original Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan. You cannot join a Medicare PDP plan if you're just on original Medicare and don't already have one. Or you can't switch from a MedSup to an a Medicare Advantage plan. What can't you do as an agent? No soliciting OEP. No posting on Facebook or any of the other things going, hey guys, it's OEP, you can make another change. You can't do that right now. It's really just finding out by doing your follow-up. I've always talked about I followed the 30, 60, 90 day. Within the first 30 days, I reached out to a member to make sure they got their plan documents, their ID cards, everything else. Within the first 60 days, I'm going to reach out. Have you used your plans? How's everything going? Have you run into any difficulties? And then one more touch point after 3 months, just to make sure everything's good there. That is when you're going to find from your current members what's going on with them. Are there any pain points? And then they can ask you at that point, can I make a change? And then you'd be able to talk about open enrollment at that point. No targeting. So again, no purchasing mailings or anything else towards people just because they made a choice during AEP. No trying to change anybody's mind, meaning you can't just reach out to your member list and say, hey, you can make a change. I want you to change from this carrier to that carrier. You can't do that type of activity at all at this point. So real quick on HAP, our service area, as you can see there, the orange counties is our core 30 county territory that has our HMO and PPO network. The kind of magenta on the lower left-hand side of the state, that's going to be just our 015 HMO network. And then in the blue on the west side of the state, those 4 counties, you're going to have our West Michigan Choice Plan that goes with the Mercy and Affinia network. So again, I'm not going to go through all these plan details, but a few things I wanted to touch on, starting with our HMO 015, so our number one selling plan, the Zero Premium HMO. But again, with all of our HMO plans, we have this visitor traveler benefit embedded into them. So what does that mean? If your member is going to Arizona, Florida, or Texas, they can receive, or even not just those 3 states, but if they're outside of our service area within Michigan. So if they spend their summers up in the UP or in Traverse City, where we don't currently have a service area, they can receive in-network cost share at any Medicare provider in those areas. So a big benefit that people always forget about, thinking, you know, it's a PPO plan, they're going up north in the summertime, I've got to give them a PPO so they can go wherever they want. That's not the case. They can get in-network cost share as soon as they're out of our service area in Michigan, or they're in Arizona, Florida, or Texas. Also this year, we embedded in $1,000 in dental coverage for comprehensive. So one main thing I want to talk about on this, and we'll hit it a little bit more later, our preventative does not come out of that $1,000 comprehensive first. So preventative, your cleanings, your bite wing x-rays, fluoride treatments, that type of stuff, all just comes with the embedded plan. It doesn't withdraw from that $1,000 purse. Then also we have tier 6 vaccines covered at a $0 copay as well. We'll touch on those a little bit more. So taking a look on the other side of the screen here, I wanted to highlight our outpatient hospital and ASC copays. So ASC is an ambulatory surgical center. We are seeing more and more of our outpatient procedures being done at these ASC locations. And we have about 77, 78 of them within our network. I would highly encourage and talk to your members when you're sitting down with them to ask their doctor if they need one of these outpatient procedures, if it can be done at an ASC center, because it cuts their copay almost in half. If it's done at a hospital location or not an ASC, it's $275. But if you get it done at the ASC, that's $145. It is a massive savings for your member. Then after that outpatient procedure or something else, they may need to go to physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational. We have just a $20 copay for that PT, OT, and ST. Massive benefit and savings for our members. Number one reason is, I know you've all probably heard this story told before, but we have unfortunately had an agent whose wife had a stroke. She had to go to PT, OT, and ST, each one of them 3 times a week. So if you're talking about a plan where that's a $40 copay, think about that cost share with 9 visits a week times 40, as opposed to where it could be $20. It's a huge savings. Also, our physical therapists always say, you know, people don't finish because they can't afford it. They're just on original Medicare. It gets too expensive. And then they end up having to have surgery again 2 years later because they didn't complete their PT. And the last thing we hear is, well, I got a gym membership. I'm just going to go the one day because it's so expensive. And then I'll just use what they did there. And then I'm going to go do it at the gym. I don't know about how many of you who made New Year's resolutions. I made one to start going to the gym. We're at the end of January. I haven't gone yet. So we all want to do it at the gym. Really the best thing we could do, drive that cost down so the member could just continue to go to their physical therapist and get the actual services they need. Also, our emergency room and urgent care copays, those are all inclusive. So the $90 for ER, $55 for urgent care, that is all services received during that visit. There's not going to be any stacking of copays. It's not going to be, here's the highest, or you saw a specialist or somebody else while you were there, so you had that copay. It's all inclusive. You go to the urgent care and you sprained your ankle, but they want to do x-rays, they want to put you in a brace, give you crutches, all of that. You're not going to have any additional copays. It's just going to be that $155 copay. And then, of course, we have our $75 OTC benefit as well for our members. That is quarter by quarter. It does not roll over. So the 024 plan has a lot of similar coverages, except I want to talk about first the network for this. This is our primary choice. And think about it, they have to make a choice to go to these physicians. The PCP network is narrow. So even though it always shows up high in your plan finder tools because of the benefits, it is a narrow PCP. So that goes with United Physicians, Oakland Southfield, IHA, or the JHN network in Jackson. Henry Ford PCPs do not accept this plan. It's something that gets confused a lot, and I just want to make sure you all know. Make sure you're checking. If you're doing a find a doc, narrow down to the primary choice on our site if that's what you're doing. Just make sure they accept this plan before you put anybody in it. So what I didn't have highlighted, but I do want to touch on with this one as well, At the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see condition-specific benefits. So this brings in a few different benefits that members can qualify for. One is post-discharge meals. So after 72 hours in the hospital, they qualify for 28 meals being shipped to them. That's 2 meals a day for 14 days. New this year, we have 8 hours a month of companion care. So the qualification for that is that the member has to be suffering some sort of social isolation or loneliness. Actually rather easy to qualify for based on the VBE discussions that we have with members. But basically that's going to give them 8 hours a month for somebody to come into their house and hang out with them, help them with some light chores around the house. We did have people ask us if, they'd go fishing with a member. They will go fishing. They'll go to a ball game with them. It was turned down. No, we won't go to the bar with them. We won't take them to the casino, but we can do some other stuff with them too. It's not just inside the home. For the plan benefits, obviously very low max out of pocket for us on here at $4,300. We have the inpatient copays of $245 just days 1 through 7. Then you'll see those outpatient procedures are going to be lower as well, $225 at the hospital or just $120 at an ASC. All the other benefits are the same except for the OTC. They do get an extra $25 a quarter for $100 a quarter their total. So that's our primary choice. Again, fantastic plan. But just think about it. It's got to have a narrow PCP network. So it's probably got to be more in that Oakland County, south going down a little bit through Ann Arbor into Jackson is where you're going to see more of those provider sources there. 019, our MA only plan, extremely popular this year, obviously within the veteran community and a few others where they're utilizing services at the VA. This one also includes our travel benefit. So if this member doesn't want to deal with going to the VA, if they're traveling to Arizona, Florida, or Texas, or if they're going up north to their cottage or something else, they can still see a doctor at an in-network cost share. This comes along with the condition-specific benefits as well. And for me, the companion care is the main key on this one. So many of our veterans in the last couple of years with COVID shutdowns and regulations have been able to spend the time at the associations that they usually got a lot of their brotherhood and companionship from. So if they are suffering from social isolation, if they are not being able to be around the people that they love to be around on a regular basis, that's a huge benefit for them to have some companionship. This does also include $50 a month in Part B premium rebate. Couple key things on here. If they need to get a outpatient procedure done, they don't want to wait for the VA system to be able to get them in for that. $200 at a in-network hospital or $110 at one of those ASC centers. And crucially important for our veterans as well, PT, OT, and ST, $0 copay on this one. So huge, huge benefit. If we're sitting down talking with somebody who may need to use one of those services, this should be the one presented to them every time. For our PPO, I'm just going to show the 011. That's the $0 PPO plan that we have. As you can see, the visitor traveler benefit changes a little bit on the PPO plan. So if they're within Michigan, networks are going to apply. So even if they go up north to the UP, it's going to be an out-of-network cost share if they're going to a provider there. That's what I'm saying. If all they're doing is going up north in Michigan, you're going to want to look back at the HMO plan as opposed to the PPO for us. But if they're leaving the state of Michigan, all 49 states, as soon as they leave, they can see any Medicare provider at an in-network cost share. So they don't have to worry about keeping within the networks, anything else when they leave the state. It is any Medicare provider. We'll give them a travel benefit card. They're going to be able to give that to their providers, and they'll know how to bill us and at what cost share their copays will be. Also, this does include that Tier 6 $0 Part D vaccines. You will see the outpatient procedures here as well. For $0 PPO, $275 or $145 in the ASC are fantastic, as well as PTOT and ST still being just a $20 copay on a $0 PPO plan. A huge benefit that we love being able to give the members and that ours are actually really enjoying, and has been a big selling point for agents going through AEP and now OEP. What we got next? West Michigan. So again, I wanted to touch on this is utilizing the Mercy Health Network there. If you're looking at the map, if you're selling on the west side of the state, a lot of people look at it and they say, well, Grand Rapids, we all know where we're going to there, but Muskegon is Mercy's huge there. There's actually quite a few Mercy providers within Kent County where Grand Rapids is. And even if the member is already going to another hospital network that's out of network for us, I highly suggest still presenting this plan to the members, basically because they've been with one plan for a long time that hasn't changed very much. And this gives them the opportunity to get some excellent benefits if they're willing to change their provider to a Mercy network. So it's still something, instead of just saying this is the best plan with your current doctor, give them the opportunity to make that decision and make a change if they'd like. So again, with our HMO plans, it has that travel benefit within Arizona, Florida, Texas, and outside of our service area, Michigan. Another big benefit on this one, Tier 1 and Tier 2 drugs are covered through the donut hole. This also includes our condition-specific benefits that we've already talked about. But go ahead and take a look at the copays that are associated here. So you have inpatient hospital, just $235 days 1 through 7. We're seeing a lot of plans being around $300, so that's a huge savings right there if they have to go into the hospital. Outpatient procedures, $210 or $120 at an ASC, just a $30 specialist copay here, and then on a $0 HMO plan, MAPD, a $0 PT, OT, and ST copay. That has been huge for a lot of our members on that side of the state and has been a massive benefit that I know myself, probably 5 or 6 people who have made a change from their old provider to a Mercy doc just to be able to access that $0 PT, OT, and ST copay. You know, they know they have to go a few times a week or even a few times a month for something chronic that's going on. And that's just a savings right off the bat for them, not having to have a copay there. So big, big plan. Really want to just say, if you're selling on the West Side, please present it to your members and just let them know there is another choice out there for them to get additional savings. Excuse me. So we do have a D-SNP plan that's in Macomb, Oakland, Wayne, and Genesee counties only. One thing I wanted to touch on with this, not only must they be a full dual eligible, so QMB plus, QMB plus, or an FBDE, but they also have to have LIS. Now, most members already do have it. They've been auto-assigned to LIS once they have Medicaid, but it doesn't always happen. So please reach out to us or our provider helpline. We'll be happy to look that up and make sure that they have everything they need to qualify. On our D-SNP this year, we have a $500 flex card that can be used for not just home safety modifications, but also for food. So if you're using it at a grocery store or at, say, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, a general contractor that may be building a ramp for them, there's certain merchant codes that they can use that flex card to help them in the cost of those items. So that is another big benefit for our members this year. That is much different than some of the other opportunities out there because they can get that ramp billed or part of that cost covered to make their home safer for them. We do also include 24 one-way transportation trips, $2,000 dental benefit through just the dental PPO network. That includes 2 exams, 2 cleanings, 2 fluoride treatments. Crowns, onlays, and dentures are covered at 70%. Root canals, bridges are both covered at 100%. Implants are not covered. We have a $200 vision allowance and then a $1,000 hearing aid allowance through Nations. It also includes in all of our condition-specific benefits as well. And as you can see, the $0 copays you'd expect on a D-SNP plan and $65 a quarter in OTC allowance. So we talked about pharmacy advantage benefits. One of the big things is the senior saver model. So everybody knows what that is. We've heard about it. That is on all of our plans except for our D-SNP plan, because of course LIS applies for those members. What it does for them is with us, I know this says $35. We actually go a little bit lower than the actual Senior Savers program and how it's written. For Lantus, Novolin, Novolog, and Toujeo, it is $20 for a 1-month supply, or if they use our Pharmacy Advantage mail order for 90 days, that 90-day supply would be $25. Huge savings for your members if they are on those insulins. If you know a diabetic that's on a Medicare Advantage plan and they're not on one of ours, I would make the move right away because this is going to be a big savings for them year over year if they're on those insulins. And then, of course, we have the $0 RX vaccine copay. That's going to include shingles, HAP A and B, measles, mumps, rubella, meningitis, flu, and pneumonia. That's another big savings for our members. If you think about it, I think that shingles vaccine, if you get it done at your doctor's office, it's like $170, I think somebody told me they were charged. When if you get it done at the pharmacy on a HAP plan, it's $0. So just another way that we're trying to save our members so they can still get all the shots, everything that they need, but at a $0 cost share. So real quick, we're going to talk about our dental. So the embedded is what is on here. So this is the one that's on all of our plans except for our DSNP. This is the $1,000 benefit that you see on the plans. Before you start pulling from that $1,000 though, you have 2 oral exams a year, 2 prophylaxis cleanings. So that's your basic over the gums, what most people get. But then you can also get, instead of those 2 prophylaxis, you can get periodontal maintenance. That's going to be the under the gums cleaning. That is another one that if the members do not currently have that covered on their plan, or if it's at a cost share, those cleanings alone can be around $100, if not more. So that's a big benefit for them to have it too. And then the fluoride treatment, we keep getting asked, why are we giving seniors fluoride treatments? Doesn't matter how old you are, fluoride stops cavities. Cavities cause hypertension and other things that they're not taking care of. So we'd rather just make sure that our members can get those fluoride treatments, reduce the chance of cavities or having to use their dental benefit because they're not having those issues by a covered fluoride treatment. And then for the minor restorative, we have fillings. We don't care if it's the composite or the other kind, if it's in the front or the back, it's just a $50 coinsurance or a 50% coinsurance. Root canals, 50% coinsurance, and crown repair with a max benefit of $1,000. So we thought that was fantastic until we took it to dentists before we launched our first looks last year. Then the dentist told us, yeah, that's great. For a member to get $1,000, they have to spend $1,000. They're still not going to get the work done. So we put together a buy-up option. We have our Delta 50, Delta 70, or Delta 100. The Delta 50 by far was our most popular one, obviously being the cheaper option and still adding on another $1,000. When you do the Delta or any of the buy-up plans, you also bring in some of those major restorative services. So you're thinking periodontics, realigns, oral surgery, bridges, dentures, implants. Those will all be covered on those plans on the buy-up side with that additional funds. But what's really neat about the buy-up is we're not just tacking on an extra $1,000 of coverage, we're coordinating that coverage. So they're actually 2 separate almost plans. If you get a root canal done and you have, say, the Delta 50 buy-up, and say that root canal is $500, it's going to be more than that, but I don't like math, so this is easy. If it's $500 for that root canal, the first $250, the first 50% is going to be paid out of your embedded dental. So that's going to come out of that $1,000 that came along with the MAPD. The remaining 50% is going to be paid out of your buy-up dental. So you actually just received that service at 100% cost share through your plan. So it is much more difficult for a member to come up with hundreds of dollars at once to pay for a procedure when it gets done versus paying $18 a month, 60 cents a day, whatever it breaks out to be, to get the buy-up dental and just not have to have that cost share, or if they need something major, they have services there as well. One other thing to note with this, the Delta 100, that is just the PPO network. The Delta 50 and the Delta 70 are both the Premier and PPO. When you're doing the lookup for that network, please make sure you're searching the Delta Dental of Michigan site and utilizing their Medicare Advantage PPO and Premier network. I've had some agents looking up the group side, and those are different things. So just make sure you're looking at the Medicare network for that. Also with our MA plans and our MedSups, you get access to our gym membership. We utilize PureFit Move for that. Each member gets 32 credits a month. They do not roll over. It's use it or lose it, but you can see they get access to lifetime if they wanted to. I think it's all the lifetimes except for the Bloomfield one, which is more expensive, but they can actually purchase more credits if they wanted to be able to go at that location. They can also go to fitness classes under this. They can get at-home fitness kits. They can really make their fitness membership and benefit what they want it to be. just by utilizing this credit system, which is actually really neat. And this network is growing like crazy in Michigan, so we're excited to have that here. One other thing I wanted to bring up, value-based enrollments. So when you're doing your Ascend applications, make sure you're scheduling that VBE phone call, or you're utilizing the Call Me Now function and the member completes that, because once they do, you earn yourself an extra $75. If you're not doing this with your members, you are leaving money on the table. I don't know about you, when I was an agent, the number one thing I hated was leaving money on the table. You get thinking about cross-selling everything else, when really you could just sit down with your member and have them complete this VBE. If they can't do it, they don't want to schedule a call, schedule it anyways and provide them the VBE phone number. They can call in at their leisure. As long as you've scheduled a call, whether it happens at that scheduled time or not, you're going to get credit for it and get paid out on that $75. So that's a big benefit too. And I will give you that VBE number at the end of the presentation today too. So that was my last slide. I thought I had one more. Christy, did we have any questions or anything pop up?
Well, let's look. That was great. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in that chat feature. Nothing so far. So that was a very good presentation, I thought. And I appreciate just that reminder of just how good HAP is and all the great benefits and features their plans have, all the embedded things, and then how you can richen it up with some of the add-ons. So that's awesome. And then agents, of course, like Kyle mentioned, don't leave that money on the table. That value-based enrollment is not only helping you earn some more commission, but it's really helping your clients. So it's giving the clients another opportunity to talk to somebody about some of their needs in their daily life. But nope, it does not look like we have any questions. So that's great.
All right.
It's Friday. So...
That's why I wanted to make sure I got through it quickly. People don't want to be on a long presentation on a Friday.
Yeah.
But I do want to give, since I know this is recorded, the VBE line, if you set it up and want to provide the phone number for a member to get that done, it's 248-699-6292. That's a number they can just call in. As long as you've scheduled one in the system, you're going to get the credit, even if they call in when it's not scheduled.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, it's 248-699-6292.
Okay, perfect.
And one of the reasons we push for this to get done so much is the fact that you can actually pre-qualify members for some of those condition-specific benefits on that VBE call.
Oh, that's
so
great.
One of the questions circles around loneliness. Do you suffer from that type of thing? That could qualify them for the 8 hours a month of companion care.
Sure. Right.
So it's very important that we get these done. And we're going to do the outreach anyway, so make sure you get the $75.
Very good. Well, great. And agents, thank you so much for your hard work and for taking some time today. We really do appreciate you. And you all have a great weekend. Stay warm. It's really cold. And we will be talking to you. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.